Hey everyone, welcome back to another Exo Heroes video. So today what we're going to be covering is the new story chapter 16 and collaboration update director's notes. So without further ado, let's get right into it. The first thing we have here is the new story chapter 16. Baelish was full of ambition in the past, and there's a little girl behind Baelish. And as we can see in the image here, it's FC Emma and Baelish. Now the thing is, FC Emma is actually Emma while she was alive, and the second queen of St. West. Whereas the base Emma that we just, normally get in the game is resurrected Emma, who was brought back to life by Baelish. So in this case, it's a little bit weird because so far in the Exo Heroes story, we've been on a linear timeline. One thing happens, and then the next thing happens, and then the next thing happens. This St. West chapter seems to be like a flashback. It seems to be going back in time because Emma is currently dead. So this is a little bit interesting. I hope that we get to see the rebellion that happened within St. West. Now, I'm pretty sure Carrie has a big role to play, Carrie and Nemeris, as they're part of the new nation, they're part of St. West, and it doesn't really make sense that Carrie's the general instead of King John Dong, but I can't wait to find out, and it looks like we'll have a little bit longer to wait before we get this content. Now, Chapter 15 stories are going to be nerfed, as is the typical content cycle since Season 2 Chapter 11 was introduced. They always nerf the previous chapter when they introduce a new one. Not much to talk about there. Moving on, we have the upcoming collaboration, and this is actually some pretty exciting news, because if you guys remember, in the past, there was some hype about a Danmachi collab, and eventually that fell through the cracks. I think they ended up canceling it. And so with this new collaboration, there's no information, right? All it's saying is new heroes are coming from another world. And what this is telling me is not much, to be honest. Is it going to be a revival of the Danmachi collab? Is this going to be a collaboration with a whole new IP that they haven't talked about before? We don't know. Hopefully we get some data mines. Hopefully we get some more official information about this soon, whether it be on YouTube or Twitter. But for now, this is all we've got. They've also introduced a new hero birthday system update. So the way this works is all heroes will be added with birthday information, and more details can be found in their hero story, which is pretty typical. Once a hero has grown up, they can obtain a special gift from his or her birthday. What we can see from the image here is that icon at the very bottom shows a level 90 battery, and the reward they're getting on the birthday is 100 Zes. That's a pretty good reward, if you ask me. I mean, my battery is already 90, so a free 100 Zes is a free 100 Zes. I mean, I'll take it. Now, the thing that I'm confused about and a little bit concerned about is, given Exo Heroes traditionally inaccurate and inconsistent wording when it comes to the localization, one of my issues is this really going to be all heroes? Is it going to include your common and your magical and your rare level heroes, the one stars? Because if that was the case, and you're getting rewards for every single hero, that is potentially a lot of Zest that you could get. Although, obviously, leveling up to 90 is a pretty significant investment in itself, so 100 Zest might not be worth it for heroes you're not already planning on leveling up. In that case, I could see the system working, but until we get some more details, until we really see this in the game, we're not going to know for sure how it works. So next we've got a Tereia Dye Station Closet System update. And that's a lot of words to sum up what is essentially just dye sets. This is just, as you can see in the image here, we have purple cat, cute cat, red cat, black cat. And for purple cat, for example, we have 3 colors for, I'm going to assume that's body. And then when you tap on hair, there's probably going to be another 3 colors for the hair. So what this means is, once you get a character dyed the way you like, then you could save it into this dye wardrobe. So you can always go back to this color. And I think that that's actually a pretty good change for people who dye their characters a lot. I'm not somebody who dyes their characters a lot, but maybe I'll jump into it since now I know whenever I get that combination I want, I can just save it and come back to it whenever. And it takes a lot of that risk out. So overall, I like this change. I'm not sure how many people are really going to take advantage of it, but if you haven't tried the dye system, this would probably be a good time to start. Next, we have Air Squadron Promotion Board Update, and this change kind of doesn't make sense to me. I just don't understand who this was for. Because, I mean, be honest with me, guys. How many of you actively, even if you're in air squadrons that you really like and you're, active members of the community, how many of you really are paying attention to the people that get promoted or not. It just doesn't really seem like it's that much of a value add for the developer time that went into making this feature. So honestly, I don't have much to say about this. I think it's a nice quality of life thing if you're somebody that takes your air squadron really seriously. So maybe if you're in one of the top guilds, or maybe if you're trying to start your own air squadron, this could be something useful. But I feel like for a majority of players, this is just something that they're not really going to get much use out of. Moving on, we have Story Collect Book, and this is essentially going to be a way that you could recheck the past story. And what this means is really just rewatching the old cutscenes and maybe getting a little bit of those lore tidbits that you might have missed in other parts of the side story. The problem with this that I see is it kind of reminds me of what we just talked about, the promotion board update. It just doesn't seem to add a lot of value. Ultimately, I think it's good that they added it. I hope they didn't spend too much developer time and too many resources making this, because the value just doesn't seem there for me. We also have some more news about Signature Force here, which is where Vagabond Enhanced Level will be added. So throughout this update, Vagabond Enhanced Level will be open up to Tier 3 Level 4, which is, I believe, the highest for all the nations right now, so it'll be up there with everyone else. Please look forward to more Vagabond heroes. Now, there's a couple of key points here. One is that obviously Vagabond Signature Force is opening. That's a big deal. The second is that we're getting more Vagabond heroes, finally. So if you guys remember way back, they were actually teasing a couple of images of these new heroes that haven't been introduced yet, and people were speculating that they might be Vagabond heroes. So I think that we're going to get a couple of those introduced. It's definitely not going to be to the same level as the original 5 nations in terms of hero pool, but it's just good that we're having more, right? It's good that these new nations aren't being completely neglected. It is a little bit weird, though, that this came out before Brune, who, was released earlier and also has the same number of heroes. Next, we have the new Fatecore theme update. So what's going on here? Light and dark. As you can see in the image, that looks like Garff, but it's not actually Garff. We believe that's Schmidt, and on the white side, it looks like Nemeris or maybe Kylok. So what's going on here is this new Fatecore theme seems to revolve around black and white, good and evil, and those sort of concepts of duality, which is pretty clear from the art here. Now, Schmidt, I think most people look at as a good guy, so we're probably going to be getting an evil Schmidt. We're always excited for new Fatecore themes. I can't wait to see their full designs and animations in-game, as well as those new passives. And especially considering, like we just talked about, Vagabond Signature Force is opening, this might be a good chance for you guys to stock up on your Schmidts and level up your Vagabond Signature Force. So next we have our new Eternal Bond, and we're coming into the next cycle, I believe in maybe about 8 or 9 days. So right now, after you get your Bathory or your Rachel, whoever you chose, you're going to get to choose between Garff or Carrie. In my opinion, I think Garff is going to be who I'm going to go for. It should be who most people go for, because Carrie just doesn't have what it takes right now. She's a general, but she has no Fatecore, she has no Signature Force, her nation doesn't have heroes. There's just a lot of downsides with her as a overall hero that make it maybe not so worth to pick her up right now. There's also been a couple of quick convenience improvements that we're going to go over. The first being, loss in daily matches are edited so that Zebinstrander participation achievement is completed. This is nice because when you get to those later days in the week, where, especially on tag team weeks, where you can't choose who you go up against, it can be pretty dangerous. There's sometimes you just go in and you cannot win over and over and over, and so being able to get the Zebinstrander participation while losing is actually pretty useful. There's also a new intro theme change function added, which I think is pretty nice because sometimes you like one theme more than the other. If you're like me and you like the Synergy theme, now you can just switch it back to Synergy and listen to that every time you log back into the game. There's also a Fatecore list sorting function. This is pretty whatever to me. When it comes to sorting Fatecores, I mean, how many are you really going to have that it's an inconvenience to sort? If you're going to enhance, you're going to use Mew or Moo anyways, so it's not like there's too much to keep track of. As long as you don't accidentally feed a Fatecore you actually want, this doesn't seem like it's going to add that much value. And then next we have Equipment Guardian Stone Filter function added. This I think is actually more useful than the Fatecore sorting because people at this point will probably have a lot of faded gear. And with a lot of faded gear comes a lot of Guardian Stones. And being able to sort between it depending on what you want. Obviously, most of us are going to want red, but you could want maybe some green stones or some blue stones. And so to be able to sort through your gear like that, I think will make it a little bit easier instead of having to swipe through all of your faded gear to find the piece that you want. But with that, we're at the end of these patch notes. Now this video was a little bit longer than we had anticipated, but we were able to go over all of the key points and talk about the things that we wanted to talk about, so hopefully you enjoyed. If you did, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. Stay tuned for more Exo Heroes and Genshin Impact's content. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys next time. Peace.